right? And that page say still gonna need an army. We ain't no more that living off another motherfucker's earnings. You gonna have to earn your own shit.
Right. You're gonna have to, as you say, when Big Mama house have no food, we got to go and put food in our house.
Yeah, all of
everybody gonna get you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you gotta get the food.
Many people.
There's 50 motherfuckers coming to the house every day. That's how Big Mama house stay. You gotta have food in there. We gotta go get this food and bring it back for Big Mama.
Yeah, that's why make sure the house got food. That's why she always lived on the farm, cause Uncle Joe was the butcher.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Uncle Bobby and Uncle Mike, they was the motherfuckers that barbecued and cooked.
That's right.
And the women was the ones that fed everybody and organized the plates around the table and said who was sitting where.
Right.
You know? And better not nobody sit in Big Mama's seat, in Big Papa's seat. Y'all already know better.
Right. And the next thing you said is what Big Mama always got somebody baby in the house. Somebody in your family baby always in Big Mama house. Right now, my 2 nephews in my mama house. Because it always got to have a baby in there. Big Mama always got a baby in her house all the time. Somebody they got to say Big Mama for 6 months. They got to be there for a month. They got to be for 2 months. Summer vacation. Big Mama always got a baby in her house, yo. She always got a baby in there. Or an 8-year-old or somebody 9-year-old or a 10-year-old. In the fuck, my nephews right now in the house with us because that's Big Mama house. They got to come home to Big Mama and stay with her for a little while until Big Mama, which is her daughter. You know what I mean? That's what Big Mama do, and they're taking care of them all the time.
Mm-hmm. But that also gives the parents a break from parenting,
yeah,
so they can have a chance to do the relationship maintenance on the one-on-one.
That's what you're talking about right there. You see when you went there, you went right in the spot.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're home, because that's why that happened.
We forgot. So now we don't want our mamas keeping our kids and our aunties keeping our kids. They doing that so you can go do your relationship maintenance with your partner.
Yes, that's right. You're right. You the truth, man. You the truth, man. Because I'm telling you, that's why they're 2 twins and they eat the fucking house out of my mother. Anywhere I go, if I'm buying food, she like, make sure you bring back for some of them kids. Them kids home, make sure she don't play with that shit. That's some real shit.
She not gonna have them at her house hungry. That's why.
She not playing with that. If you go to buy food, you gotta buy for them kids too. Like, you know, uncle, I gotta go and buy for them. But that's what Big Mama roll. Mm-hmm. It's the same love for us. That's why the prime source creator is Big Mama energy.
Yeah,
it's Big Mama. God is Big Mama. They don't want to hear that, but you told me that, and I know that's a fucking fact from since day one, because they got more attributes that's feminine to God than masculine.
I got a Facebook video called "Let's Examine the Structure of Creation" that explains all that. This video about to cut off in about 20 seconds. I'm about to be done for the night. But
all right,
I'll be back on here soon. And if I got it,
stay strong, stay strong, God. Stay strong, God.
For sure.
Stay
Appreciate
strong.
You, man. Much love to you down there.
Stay strong, God. Stay.
Florida say yay is right.
You might put it on the building.
It was on the building, dog. You know the ticker at the top of the building? It was on the ticker at the top of the building, and it was saying yay is right.
Wow. Wow. Who would have ever thought? I mean, I don't know. I do kind of identify with, now I don't identify with him, but I see some of the I understand yay. I'll put it like that. I understand his thought process. Just for being like a black sheep, thinking differently. I wouldn't even call myself a black sheep, just thinking differently my whole life. So it's like, I don't want to call him the Messiah, but he's really like leading the rush, almost, in a sense.
And yay, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, motherfucker.
Right. So does that piggyback on the whole Trump thing, the trumpets, the final trumpets? Singing off Trump Pence, you know what I'm saying? That was one little connection I had made a while back. Like Trump and Pence was like the final ringing to let us know that this was the end of their little reign. And then so you connecting that to that, and then Ye being connected to Trump as tightly as he was, it's just like putting the pieces of the puzzle together for me. It's just crazy.
So for the women that want to do rituals, they should be calling back the sweet waters of Oshun. That's the love energy. In order for the love energy to come back, all that dirty dirt shit got to get cleaned up. The last major conjure to close is the Haitian conjure, and it's in the process.
Mm. We acquaint ourselves with. Okay, let's see. Let's see what she talking about.
That's what we were saying earlier about sinking back to the earth, walking barefoot and grounding. Yeah.
Okay. Where's where the mention how Europe came to find Americas for the yay. What are some of its original uses using the plant cocaine is from? Okay, for the yay. Oh, yayo. Okay. What are some of its original uses using the plant cocaine is from?
They used to use it for pain reliever. They used to use it. They used to make tea out of the leaves. They never used to use the concentrate. Cocaine is a concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it had an effect like caffeine, except stronger.
That's a good question, Reynolds. Throw that in the question box for me so I can pin it. But he said all the black nobility, the dirty morals. Actually, I just mentioned it.
100%.
100%. Okay. So is it for me? It feels like it's really time. Like even with Doug telling Ye, like I got 100 acres of land that you can use. So it is time for us to try that rebuild, almost like another Black Wall Street, or just are we getting back to nature with this one?
Listen, the Black Wall Street was everywhere. It wasn't just Tulsa, Oklahoma. We had communities that we set up after we left the Gullah Wars. When we was going back into the land, they had declared the land abandoned under the salvage rights so they can use squatters' rights to colonize. So when we was going back, we had everywhere we went, we generate the sweetest source of wealth on earth. Gold, if we wasn't on earth, gold wouldn't be here. Platinum wouldn't be here. As the side effects of very specific star seeds walking the earth. The side effect is the earth produces in its anatomy chemical signature identifying the strain of being on the earth.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, I mean, it makes sense because the earth is just a larger expression of us. So, I mean, we got all those chemicals and minerals in our body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a good one. Can you expound on the matriarchal call and the shift back into a matriarchal societal structure in the higher timeline?
So the call of the matriarch is spiritual. If you see now, there's the women is finding where they comfortable. They move in locations to going back to places they used to live in past lives where when the energy shifts, they automatically know where they need to be. And they start making arrangements to be in that location. They answering the call. All of the mothers is telepathically linked, but they don't know it yet.
But let me see. And when do you feel like they'll know it? What will it take? Is just an awakening? Is it ritual or is it
it's a subtle becoming aware.
Okay.
Right? The only reason I figured this stuff out is watching patterns. As I watch the patterns, I can't help but notice it. They took it on themselves to write these contracts and laws. That's why they use $5 Indians to sign the contract, because we wasn't signing that shit. They brought them over here to specifically say they Indians and declare them chiefs by presidential order so they can sign a treaty. We ain't signing no treaties with them motherfuckers.
It's funny, like looking back on. I was just watching. If you haven't checked out, it's UB News TV. He does great work and research and talks about the lodges. And the other day he did, he talks about the Boule. But the other day he did one on Noble Drew Ali and just kind of breaking down his beginnings, where he really came from, you know, his pilgrimages to Mecca and how they, you know, they basically coined him, or not coined him, but donned him a prophet. And then he came back over here and essentially convinced all these people, these natives that were here in America, that they were from Morocco, or had them playing like they were from Morocco when they would get in trouble. So it's very informative, like just seeing the other side of what you've read in books, just going a little deeper. But yeah, Noble Drew, I know you. I've heard you speak on him, and from what I understand, you've always spoke highly of him. But is there other side? Was there a sinister side or reason behind him starting what he started here in America with the Moorish?
What he started is not what you see.
Okay.
It changed.
Okay.
He had set the Moorish Science Temple up in the beginning to be able to send them grand sheiks to get our people out of their system, because they understood the relationship with the contracts that had nothing to do with us. But one of the clerks went behind his back and signed contracts with the same motherfuckers we was trying to get away from. And the reason you know this is because on the back of your nationality card, it say clear as day, the holder of this card is a U.S. citizen. How you gonna be a free Moorish national and a U.S. citizen? It's not possible. It's a blatant contradiction in your face.
Right. That's real. Okay, so here's a piggyback on that topic. Hey, Shane says, so should we be correct in status, declaring ourselves indigenous as Aboriginal, or just wait?
At this point, you can just wait it out. If you know who the fuck you is, you can just wait it out. Disassociate from the system so that motherfucker could go and finish collapsing.
Right. So would you recommend something as simple as like deregistering yourself? Like just killing the contracts that you have out there, even though their contract ended, a lot of people
You abandon the contract for fraud.
Just abandon it.
You abandon the contract because if you know there's a fraud there and you still trying to meet the terms of the contract, you party to the fraud, which incriminates you in the court of law. If anybody ever called them on that fraud in the court of law, all of the people who willingly participated in the fraud, once they became aware that the fraud existed, is just as guilty as the ones that started the fraud.
Because if you still, yep. That's real. Good question, though. Yeah, I would say you need to tap in more, but we'll see what Rod got to say.
That's the Ascension symptoms he's describing. I can't see the whole thing.
It says, is there a meaning behind my body being restless, or more so me not being asleep? It's been happening since a young age.
It could be nutritional deficiency, but if your spiritual self is vibrating too high, you won't be able to sleep. You use a cat nap.
So he's got to integrate that.
Right. So he had to train himself, like what I did when I was locked up. Every night before they lock us down, I drink a big ass cup of water before I go to bed. Right? Because the water hydrates the body and is soothing to the central nervous system. Right? And then I lay down and within no time I'm out. So then I begin to keep doing it till I train myself. When I ain't tired, when I need to get some sleep and I ain't tired, I can still go drink a big cup of water and go straight to sleep. I can do it now. That's how, instead of letting somebody else condition you, learn how to condition yourself.
That's real. And I know for me, if you just like, well, he said he can't get no sleep, but I know when I wake up in the middle of the night at a certain time, I normally just sit down and I'll try to sit down and meditate. That normally means I'm supposed to be getting a message, especially if it's in like the heat of the middle of the night. And then I'll be peeing all night.
But that's why I did it. Another reason why I done it too, because I needed to train myself to hold my pee all night.
Oh, dang. I ain't seen this. Probably because I never registered to vote. She said, why did Mellon notice it stating years we voted or not?
Look, all of those is adhesion contracts. You fill that shit out, you making an agreement with them to participate.
And the Electoral College really decide that. It's basically a tacit agreement to follow whatever laws or whatever happens during that current regime. Going along with the get along.
Dreaming about Papa Leg, but he bringing you a message. You need to figure out what it is.
Okay, there we go. Was Enlil and Inky here before us, or we came from them?
The Earthborn was already people here when the Anunnaki came, right? And when they came, they integrated with the people that was already here and formed a hybrid, an Anunnaki human hybrid. That's what we are in modern times, right? And they interacted with us on several different occasions. These is what they call in the theory of evolution the missing links. But it's really not the theory of evolution, right? It's really the intervention in the genome by the alien beings, and they manipulated the genome to cause us to forget, to shorten our lifespan, and to make us controllable to do their work as Lulu Amun, as primitive workers. And then some of the ones that was in the Anunnaki royal house that wasn't working in the mines didn't agree with that shit.
And that's when they created them other people. Okay, bad. And I'm gonna post a question, bro. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, here you go. It kind of went over this earlier a little bit.
Yeah, Jacob is Yacub. The last name Jacob's just supposed to be Hebrew. Yacub is the Hebrew name. It means supplanter, underminer. When they gave us these names, when they came over here, they was tagging our bloodlines. Some of them wasn't our names.
Okay, I'll save that one. Because the Yacub story is fascinating. But
I did a series on Young Elder Show showing y'all exactly what the Yacub story was.
Okay.
With references.
All right, I have to tap that in. You said with Young Elder?
Yeah, it's like a 3 or 4 part series.
Okay, but that's on his Instagram?
YouTube.
Okay. If your family said they're Cherokee, how do you really find out that you're from the land? Or if, I don't know where that question just went. It just disappeared on its own. Or if they're of the invaders. I think she might have dipped out. So it took her question. So I'll just put that back. I had a dream about him. Oh, okay. She said she had a dream about you. Can you explain what you're telling her or what they're telling me to tell him or tell me? Like, what's the communication? She had a dream about you.
You don't translate dreams like that. That's enough information. I actually got to hear the dream circumstances, the surroundings. Then I got to know a bunch of questions go with that.
Yeah, colors, all of that. The black Masons, maybe it don't matter, but I'll put it up there.
It depends. Okay, so all of the lodges has been infiltrated. So, you have to judge them by an individual that you know. You can't judge the whole lodge because you got good motherfuckers in the lodge and you got dirty motherfuckers in the lodge, and all of them been infiltrated and compromised.
Every single lodge, kind of like the NOI back then with Malcolm X. It's a lot of dream questions. You must not have did a dream live in a minute.
The Liberia project took a lot of us over to Africa, to Liberia, and many of us ended up in Ghana. Most of us don't know that. So a lot of us was under believing that slave narrative when the first back to Africa movement, that's called the Liberia movement, right? It was a lot of us that went to Ghana as well. Not just Ghana, the whole Gold Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, and Western South Africa as well. That's part of your Pan-African studies. That's why Garvey was stressing it so much.
You're studying the Pan-Africanism.
Right, because
so the
Africans going to tell you the same thing I'm telling you. We ain't from over there. We was already here.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't make that, as Garvey called it, that confraternity connection. Then we going to be stuck with the narrative the invaders gave us, with no way to disprove it, which is going to make us forfeit the right to our own shit. But when we go study the Pan-Africanism and the Africans are telling us don't believe that bullshit, they look like us, but they not us. The Africans say the same thing we say. The Arabs say the same thing we say. They look like us, but they ain't us. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Why is that saying in all of these places? Because all of these places was invaded by the Etruscans, who became known as the conquistadors, who became known as the blackamoors. So the challenges was the George Washington challenge in the Masonic Lodge was the challenge versus the fezzes versus the feathers, master versus master. Is it one of y'all chiefs can rise up and know what side of the water you from? Will you know that you didn't come over here with a fez on? You was already here with a head full of feathers. Well, I ain't come over here with no fez on. Before it was ever a fez here, I had my feathers. So when I know that the lodges is infiltrated, I got to raise myself. I can't go in their lodges if they infiltrate it, because they're going to immediately know who I am. And then I got 3 ruffians again. Jabbaline, and Jabbalo. Busting your side of my head and shit. I ain't finna be going through that. I'll fuck one of them niggas up.
So does that go into like discernment, or like your soul already knowing like who you belong to or what side you belong to, or is it true that people are easily manipulated into that doctrine, or just like thinking that they're Moorish but they're really not?
Look, most people didn't start hearing about that shit till the 90s. That's around now. And most of the people that start hearing about it got it out of prison. And all of these grandiose claims to be in a superior jurisdiction to the government, all the time they having you becoming inferior to the government. They slave catching and don't even know it. The presumption of knowledge is worse than motherfucking no knowledge at all. Because you definitely going to be misleading the motherfucker. So the good Moors came in with feathers to accept the challenge. And we had to win affairs. We was getting our ass kicked. They was telling us that shit. We was believing the shit out that shit.
How was it so effective to where they made us forget where we came from so effectively? How did they do it so effectively to where even though the amnesia that comes with like our great grandparents and grandparents telling us who we are, and then we just wiping it off or wiping it away, saying
the appearance of being official. It's true because I got it wrote down here on this piece of paper I just wrote. Right? It's true because it's written right here on this piece of paper I just wrote. That's never been verification of truth for us. The truth resonated on the frequency of the heart. If it don't sync with the heart's energy, then it's automatically false. The greatest thing, greatest expression of love is to tell the truth regardless of the consequences.
That's where that saying comes. You can't manipulate a true man.
No.
Right? Even with seduction, like a woman can't even tempt a true man because he's based off of what is right and what feels right, and he already knows what's right and wrong. He's already made that determination a while ago.
Yeah.
So, like for me, when I came across the information more, like when I first started getting into learning the rights, the system and learning your rights, that was one of the first things that I came across was the Moorish doctrine and everything that came along with that. But it just never resonated with me for some reason. I had a few people around me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna change my name to Bay this, L that. And I was just like, I don't know about that, bro.
I knew when I first seen Noble Drew Ali, I didn't remember him like that. I recognized the face. I did not remember the head wrap. I do remember seeing him with plumes of feathers. I don't never remember seeing him with a turban on in past lives.
So you think they hijacked it?
He was part of the war. He had to go into their system, into the Scottish Rite. He went and sat with more Zionist Jews in New Jersey to find out what they were doing. We didn't know what they were doing to us. So then when he said he put all of their secrets in the public domain, it made it where we can read, what Chiefs now can read this shit.
To find
the alchemical name. The name had to be alchemically charged over a period of time. Now, in order to have the 100 monkey effect, in order to make the vibration of this planet uninhabitable for this beast, I had to figure out a way to get the people to chant the word, more free us. More free us. I had to figure out a way. So I attached it to the music industry, turned it into a rhythmic tone. Because, the sacred tones is the key to all this. When you intone the correct vibration, it all comes crumbling down on his head. He can't control us with this wickedness. Now, we all know that the human seed was corrupted. And this is how, like the Saudi family have those who wish to do Mother Teresa type work with all that surplus wealth. But then you have those who wish to look at it in a vault with big eyes and be like, oh my, I'm rich. Now, the ones who want to do the Mother Teresa type work need to be in charge of the money. The other ones need to be beheaded. But that's not my responsibility. That's up to the people of the Saudi to deal with their royal family, because they need to weed out the imposters so that the people can live comfortable all over Saudi Arabia. It's the same with every one of those countries. Now, you got outside forces interfering in your personal business. You got outside forces interfering in your personal business. And the reason why this is y'all all have a common religion called Islam. In this common religion of Islam, y'all used to have something called the Caliphate. The Caliphate could enforce the Sharia law. Well, we had a Sharia law over here, and they have our Mufti, Angel Bay, indisposed, so we can't exercise our rights to our Sharia law under the Moorish Empire because they've divided us so terrible. But Malik Angel Bay is our chief Mufti. He is the one in charge of enforcing the law here. What do? Accuse him of terrorism, as they always do. When somebody righteous try to do something right, they villainize him. So, whatever his order be to his people, I'm gonna get out the way. I just hope that it be a peaceful motion first. You see. Then we had a statesman, and he was to teach us business and how to interact with one another. And this man was supposed to teach us how to carry ourselves in unity and to be able to break the barriers. And we call him Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover is our statesman and our diplomat. They put him in prison, and he was about to come home. They fabricated cases. Now, everybody with a drug case, y'all need to understand something. There's a federal statute in the United States Code that says when the government commits a crime, and uses the citizenry as a method to carry out the crime, the citizenry are not responsible for that crime. In other words, everybody with a dope case is in direct violation of every portion of your United States Constitution because they are agents of the government and they're not supposed to be punished. They're supposed to have qualified immunity for anything narcotic related because the government is the ones bringing the narcotics. Iran-Contra exposed the rats for who they were. Everybody thought Ronald Reagan was the bad guy. Ronald Reagan was scared to death. They did not tell you Nancy was forced to keep him sedated for the remainder of his life so he could never tell the story about George Herbert Walker Bush and his role with Central Intelligence and bringing all this drugs over here. But Iran-Contra Senate hearings will show you where I don't have to prove it. They proved it to you before I even said it. This should automatically have every drug case brought to the surface. And everybody with a drug case acted as and to this day, act as an agent of government. You can continuously prove this because George Walker Bush right now still got troops guarding opium fields in Afghanistan. They still there. Why are they doing it? Now, let's go a little bit deeper. Pick up that book, Behold the Pale Horse, written by William Cooper, and he tells you about the law that was passed in the late night hours by a select Senate committee in order to make George Herbert Walker Bush King George I of the United States. We count them backwards. Understand me? You have to count them backwards because it was started from King George III. Count them backwards. He was supposed to have the reins. 9/11 was their coup de grace. 9/11 was done by Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, George Walker Bush at the command of George Herbert Walker Bush in the act of treason. Bill Clinton, George Herbert Walker Bush's adopted son, was in on it in as much as he knew what was going on and continued to keep up the charade. So what do we do about this? We find a righteous man somewhere. We let him kind of like villainize him, but not really. Kind of like make him look bad, but not really. They make him look like a man, a regular man, and put him in office. And when they put him in office, they say, we'll put you in office and we're going to give you this job. And you're going to have to drain the swamp. But you have to let the people believe you still following the agenda of this wicked bastard so that we can overthrow this tyranny that's suffocating everybody on earth. We looked around and there was a very eloquent supporter of Ronald Reagan and dear friend of his that loved him greatly and mourned him for a very long time, even while he was alive, because he knew what they were doing to him and he was under the threat of death. He was bound to silence. I'm not part of no organization that can threaten me. Everything that I'm part of is about redemption and righteousness. So we trained him. I tried to tell y'all, you see, we sent him to Vincent Kennedy McMahon to be seasoned in learning how to be the bad guy. So you go back and you watch wrestling, you see Donald Trump in wrestling beefing with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, learning how to be a heel. He had to learn how to be the bad guy because he's not really a bad guy. But he had to play the role. See, in order to catch a serpent, you might have to play the serpent. In order to catch a thief, you might have to play the thief. And this is all part of life. And this is all part of the way that Hey, how you doing? This is all part of the way we get from under this tyrant. So he drained the swamp, this side of the water, but we have swamplands all over the world. So when he drained the swamp, all right now, when he drained the swamp here, Vladimir Putin drained the swamp there. Nobody wanted to talk to North Korea because they went right from day one. It's not that South Korea wrong. South Korea was sequestered from North Korea in an attempt to split the nation, and they did it. But North Korea had a backer in China that kept the wolves at bay long enough for me to expose the fraud. And so when Donald Trump went to go talk to him, he told him, we don't have to keep it up no more. He is here. He's going to set the record straight. So the Vietnam War was about a $1 bet. All of those people suffered in Vietnam and died on both sides of the conflict was about a $1 bet between billionaires. It's all documented, and it's a parody of it called Coming to America. The two old men, it's not hard to find. Now, once this is exposed to the public in a sufficient format, I'm going to go back, pool all my resources, and I'm going to show you where every reference is for everything I'm telling you. They all know. Now, it's a problem I got here. Problem I got with entertainment. Because entertainment is supposed to beautify the life of humanity with art and music. It's supposed to give us plays, what we call them today, motion picture. It's supposed to give us stuff to give us a break between work and during our work phase of life where we are beautified in the mind and the heart to keep us into a loving state, an uplifted state. Next thing you know, here comes Zionists. Well, who the hell are they and where they come from? Now, they're like, you anti-Semitic. I don't even know what that is. I can't find Semitics nowhere in history. How can I be against something that don't exist? So I look into this, and they got this group, two of them. One's called the Jewish Defense League, and one called Anti-Defamation League. One of them, the Jewish Defense League, are the ones, the strong arm of the Zionist movement. They the ones that they call, it's a joke in the Screen Actors Guild in various parts of Hollywood. They call them star whackers. That's what they call them over there. They call them star whackers. But they kill entertainers that don't want to surrender their wealth after their careers. So you see what happened to Michael Jackson. You see what happened to Tupac. You see what happened to Biggie. They want us to look like it's something other than what it is. They playing, we playing. We're going to find out who got the best plan when it's all over with. Now, watch this. They go over there, they set up these companies. Now, they leave signatures behind. The Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, MGM Studios, are very closely related to Golda Meir, who was one of the prime ministers of what we call Israel today. And they take the money from people to earn it because they feel entitled. This entitlement shit is bad, man. This is horrible. We got to get that out of the minds of the people. Nobody ain't entitled to nothing they don't earn. The only entitled person is an adolescent child. Nobody else is entitled. An adolescent child didn't ask to be here. But by the time he becomes a teen, he begins to learn how to take on the responsibility as a self. When he becomes an adult, he begins to learn how to enter into the work field and provide and produce. But some of them excel at an earlier age. So they need a different format. The educational format is controlled. If you get the book, The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, it's the entire blueprint. Now, I'm going to assemble my team of researchers, And I'm going to pick it apart for y'all and show y'all, because I already did it myself, so I know everything in it there that they said they had to control the world, they already did. Not going to do, they already did it. Their signature is on all their works. So they need to be compensated for their unjust works with justice. They need to be compensated for their unjust works with justice. So now, what do? We go to Hollywood and we get rid of the Jewish Defense League's positions of power. They don't need to be there. But this is how we gonna do it so it don't cause too much disruptions in the day-to-day life. Every one of them, like example, I want Ted Fields to have to get in the UFC cage with Suge Knight and see how he fare. I want David Kenner to have to scrap with Dr. Dre and see how he fare. No, Harry-O. Send him in there with Harry-O in the joint. Let him go down there and fight Harry-O. See, Harry-O in there on some BS. You see? But he ain't no fool. So they take his money and start companies with, and don't want to pay his money back to him that he earned by working for the government in sales and distribution. Working for the government. He can't be in prison for working for the government. It's not a crime to work for your government. That's patriotic at heart. He was working for your government. The same with Freeway Ricky Ross. He was working for your government, but when Russell Poole exposed him, now they got to lock him up because the government don't want you to know they behind it, because then you're going to start asking questions. When you start asking questions, you're going to find out that it's a rogue faction of government. We've been infiltrated. Well, when did it happen? Go back. Dwight D. Eisenhower, leaving office, his farewell address, he told you about military-industrial complex and the potential of its power of oppression of all people on earth. America has assembled its military force to call the Leviathan force around the world under the military-industrial complex. Now, if you know your biblical text, you know what the Leviathan is, the great beast. You know what it is. You know who was behind it. But it ain't the people of America. It's a rogue faction within the government of America that's pushing this agenda. What do? We drain the swamp. Now we gave Donald Trump a job to get the imposters out at high levels of politics, and he exposed Hillary and her husband, William Jefferson Clinton. And he exposed, he haven't exposed them, but he is addressing it, has addressed it. Your Bushes, your Rumsfelds, your Cheneys, they all know what's up. They all in on it together. There's only one of these jackals I ain't quite figured out yet, so I'm not going to put his name in here. Because it looked like, but he might have been going to the right. So I'm not going to mention him. I have to talk to my elders that know him better than I do in order to determine if what I see is really what I see. Because at the close of the age, as you get closer to where I'm at, more deception is exposed, so the righteous have to use a greater deception than the deceiver. So sometimes the misdirection is confusing. I can go do the math on it, but I haven't done it yet because I don't want it really to be true, and I want to give people an opportunity. Now, politics, as we see it, is corrupt. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's corrupt. We need to revamp the whole system in every nation around this planet. One country at a time, but everybody got to start at home first. Everybody at home got to get the imposters out their house. When all of the imposters is in the streets, then we know what we up against. You know, that fake love, fake hugs. that shit. It's over. Now, all of the ones responsible, they gonna have an opportunity to defend themselves with the facts. But if they can't defend themselves with the facts and satisfy the people, they're gonna have to get in that cage. And the ones that they wrong can pick who they want to resolve the matter. See, we got Dana White in this UFC stuff. And we got him there for a reason. Dana White's job is to make it, he was to help Europe develop their own fighting style on the heels of what happened in Babylon. Everybody gave a drop of blood, and then Europe was supposed to develop to their own level of greatness so that they can have their name in the history books. This was supposed to be done as Greeks, but they were sacked by Rome and raped by Rome, figuratively and literally. Figuratively and literally. All of this stuff is verifiable and will be verified with the facts in written form and video format. I'm going to do all of this work to show y'all. Now, I did a lot of work to get where I'm at now because I wouldn't be here if I didn't. I did a whole lot of research, investigation for a long time to find out why are we suffering like we are. I did the work. I got some more work now. While the imposters are being weeded out, they're going to all be
is and why we call her Big Mama.
Okay, so if you go to Egypt and you look in the Parthenon of Isis or the Temple of Isis in Dendora, you see this star zodiac in the ceiling. As you zoom in to the center, you're going to see what's known as Tawaret. She is the zootype of a hippopotamus, and she got in one hand, she got a big ass meat cleaver. All right. The energy that comes from the center of the universe is her energy. Right. As prime creator, we call her Big Mama because when we have a Big Mama on Earth, she represents that energy. She behaves according to the energy that the universe operates from. She don't behave on what our hopes, wishes, and desires is. She's true to self and true to nature. So the prime creator is Big Mama. And we call our representatives or the head of the families in the matriarchy Big Mama. And then all of the Big Mamas get together and they form a council of elders. And they become the lawmakers. So they collectively harness more Big Mama energy or prime creator energy than anybody else because they are tuned in from their life lessons to the frequency. So they can, it's like your ancestors. Your ancestors talk to you through children and elders. They don't talk to you through somebody living in the humdrum of life because they can't hear them. So when we say Big Mama and Big Mama energy, we're talking prime creator and prime creative energies.
So with that being said, I remember I asked you this question prior in another live, to be able to distinguish the difference between the concept of Big Mama and the concept of non-ether. Can you just give just a brief explanation of that for the listeners?
So we call prime creator Big Mama. Non-ether is the energy she used to create dark matter, which is pure Big Mama energy. So when we talking non-ether, this is what we're talking about. The highest expression of all creative forces rolled into one, non-ether. And it's reflected on the earth by the lowest frequency to maintain the holographic matrix of 6 ether.
So we always been taught that you have 9 ether, 6 ether, and 3 ether, right? And relative to the physical, 9 ether beings was considered dark-skinned, woolly-haired people, or the black or brown race. And the 6 ether and the 3 ether represented the pale and albino races. How true is that in relation to the knowledge that you know about 9 ether, 6 ether, and 3 ether?
I'm not familiar with the 3 ether. I know that the 6 ether, as Pops explained it, 6 ether in death becomes ghost, right? And ghost is going back to prime source, the back way, the bottom way. Whereas 9 ether is going to source out the top. That's why they got us disoriented. South is up, north is down, but they told us it's the other way around.
Right. Now, I made a PowerPoint a while back about that. And I made a video about 2 years ago about it, breaking it down from a thermodynamic perspective. I'm showing everybody the thermodynamic process of 9 ether going from 9 to 6 and 6 to 3, 3 back to 6 and 6 back to 9. So I follow you.
Mm-hmm. So the paradigm of 369 is predicated upon a 3-sided pyramid. And the 3-sided pyramid, the pyramid means fire in the middle. So the 3-sided pyramid becomes the agency by which you harness the what they call the creative fires or the creative energies, which is again dark matter, unseen energy, and you're able to utilize it to effectuate all type of alchemical processes in varying different things. So you take a dull razor blade and you set it under a small pyramid, and next thing you know, it's sharp for no reason.
That's interesting. So when we talk about numerology numbers, right? We see that there was a video that I watched on Nikola Tesla, and he was breaking down certain numbers that had basically various influences on the universe, and he used 369. What are the relevance to those 3 numbers as it relates to the universe?
The 369 is the creative potentialities. It starts with the 3. Remember, 2 or more gathered together in my name, there I am also. If 2 gathered together and I am there also, it'd be number 3.
Right.
Right. So now if you're building a pyramid with 3 sides, you got I am there also 3 times with the 3, then the 6, then the 9. So now you got triple creative potentialities converging at the center of the pyramid, which generates the fire in the middle.
Okay. That's pretty much what the video is explaining, but they just went a little bit more in depth, and they was just showing like when you add these numbers from the top to the bottom, it all comes back to 9, and pretty much the narrative was that 9 was the highest number in mathematics.
It is. In Egypt, they don't count from 1 to 9. They count from 9 to 1. But over here, they actually count from 10 to 1. 10 being the highest expression of alpha, beta, and omega, the unity at the beginning and the ending. It's represented by the serpent with the tail in his mouth.
Okay. So let's go here with it then. All right. So when you start talking about the origin, structure, and evolution of the universe, they always name a prime mover. Would that prime mover be Big Mama?
That's Big Mama energy.
Okay. And
it's called, in modern science, it's called prima mater. If you look at the word prima mater, it really translates from Latin to English as the prime mother.
Right, because matter does mean mother in etymology.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they actually trying to convey by using the terminology prime mother? I mean, not prime mother, I'm sorry. Prime mover.
They're just trying to talk over your head with double talk, because we know that the prime mover is the prime mother.
Right.
So if the source don't say it, it don't move. Okay.
So if we look at the fact that the sisters, or are supposed to be in the position of actually like ruling and building the council, but when we look in history, men have pretty much overthrown them. In what way, when the matriarchal society rises like completely, can we make sure, or is there a way that we can make sure that that doesn't happen?
Well, the only reason why it happened because of what Bobby Hemming liked to call the great debauchery, when they created some synthetic humans that were sentient. And that violated galactic law because they had no right of ascension.
Okay. What does right of ascension represent?
Your ability to traverse higher realms of consciousness. What used to happen with them is they would have a neurological shutdown whenever the sacred secretion began to rise. It caused strokes, and it caused them to end up like Stephen Hawking. If their thoughts get too powerful, their body starts to suffer because they are genetically engineered to die before they ever reach God status.
Okay. So explain right of ascension.
The right of ascension is one of the earth rights, right? And the women have always been in charge of the earth rights. And it's your right to be unrestricted in your spiritual development in the free will universe. It's a right. It's not a privilege. So when you deprive somebody of the right to ascend and they sentient, then you acting as what we would call in modern terminologies as devil.
Okay. That's deep, because now it's almost like saying that everything has its proper place and position. And when you're moving contrary to that, for one, it's going to disrupt the harmony of it all, but it's also going to actually put you in a certain level, or put you on a certain level, I should say, that gives you pretty much a bad disposition.
Right. So when we talk about earth rights, right, that's the right to do what's necessary for the maintenance of the land, the air, and the water, which we call the great law. And that right falls to the women first, because Earth is a feminine planet. Had we been on Mars, patriarchy would have been the order. We're not on Mars, we on Earth.
Okay. So would you say that that's coming more sooner than later as far as this re-erection of the matriarchal society, or we still have a long way to go?
It's happening in real time. Most people not even seeing it because they're too caught up in the humdrum of go to work, send the kids to school, come home, cook dinner, and go to bed. They can't see shit. Their life is going by in a blur. They doing the same thing today that they was doing on this day 10 years ago. Okay. That's why they teach you to follow habits, so that you won't be able to innovate on anything new, because you fall into that into a cycle, and that cycle is what locks you into the slavery. It's all systematically designed that way.
So what qualities do we need to look for in the system to notice that they have what it takes to be in that position? Because I'm pretty sure that everyone may not, fit the criteria.
Most loved, most respected is the standard. The sister that's most loved and respected by the most women around the world is the highest ranked woman on the planet.
I remember you said that you referred to Farrakhan's wife, who presently holds those qualities.
Yep, she is the most loved, most respected out of all of the women leaders she met around the world. They all loved her and respected her more than they did each other.
Do you think that that's due to Farrakhan being Farrakhan, or her blazing her own path?
That's like saying what came first, the chicken or the egg. They can listen. When they went to Claire got to get a juice to at that time her name was Betsy Ross.
Right.
She got to give her the juice. The only way she gonna give her the juice is if she give her the righteous name. The righteous name is Khadijah. Her name is not Khadijah Farrakhan, is Khadijah Muhammad.
Right.
Farrakhan name is Farrakhan Muhammad. Right. But we tend to call her Khadijah Farrakhan and call him Louis Farrakhan. That's because we don't know who they is.
Okay.
In Egypt, Farrakhan was known as the Pharaoh A', who was the interim leader when King Tut was assassinated.
Okay. So back to Egypt, this is another question I've been asked for you to expound on. Why did the Egyptians put different animals' heads to represent different gods and goddesses? Like, what does those animals have in common with those energies of those deities?
Every tribe have a totem animal that represents their clan. So let's say over here, you see a totem pole, you see mostly animals on it. Those are the totem animal of each tribe that's on that pole. That's who's in this area. The totem animal just tells you whose turn it is to rule.
Okay. So the Egyptians use a plethora of different animals. They use frogs, they use
all
lions.
of those clans have ruled already. It's only one left. The last one to rise to power, you don't see him in the hieroglyphics. And that's the gorilla.
Who is that?
The gorilla.
Okay, and why is that?
Because it's time to rule hadn't came yet. It just now got here.
So what intellectually speaking was it that created that representation for the deities?
The zoo type?
The who?
What do you mean, what do you mean by representation of the deities?
Okay, so the goddess Sekhmet had a lion head or a lioness head. Mm-hmm. Why did they associate the lion with her, but they associated the ibis bird with Thoth or Tahuti?
So the lioness, you study the lion and you understand why she's represented as the lioness. The Sekhmet position is the next one of the Sibyls in line to become the queen of heaven and earth.
Okay.
Right? So she'll be Sekhmet until the rule of the former Osset has been exhausted or depleted. And then the Sekhmet is the next in line. So it's a priesthood under Sekhmet. It's a priesthood under Bast. Bast fall under Sekhmet. Bast is represented by the Black Panther, a cat. And also the house cats, which is the familiars of those who come from the house of the feline. Feline right. Means feminine line, meaning the mother line of rulership on earth. Tahuti having the ibis head is because the way that the bird, when he's looking for his food, it appears to be studying. So the bird, the Benu bird that studies became synonymous with the man who studied out of the bird clans, right? And there's all kind of bird clans, hawks, falcons, eagles, condors, vultures. They all have a different expression, but they all fall under Tahuti as the feathered serpents.
So what should the brothers be doing right now? Us as the men, what should we be doing right now?
Everybody got to do what they feel in their heart they're driven to do. For somebody to tell you what you should be doing, that means that you don't know who you are yet.
Right.
So the first order of business is to study self. Find out who you are. Look for yourself in everything you read and write.
Okay. So the reason why, I'm guessing this now, one of the brothers asked that is maybe because there may be some specific things. Of course, we know, the shadow work has to be done, but maybe some other things that they, I guess, hadn't yet come to the realization that, the brothers should actually be doing to put themselves in a better position.
Well, a couple of things you should be doing: clean your filters, your liver, kidneys, your lymphatic system. They got herbs that do all of that stuff. Anybody that work in most health food stores, when you ask them what clean the liver, they're gonna say burdock root, dandelion leaf, milk thistle are the best, right? And that's the beginning. Then you need a heavy metal cleanse because the soft metals, aluminum, iron and whatnot, they contaminate the system and they causes a misfiring in the nerves. A buildup of metals in the brain can give you a stroke.
So, are there any specific natural herbs that you could give the brothers and sisters that that may actually help to do all these things?
Well, I just told you, burdock root, milk thistle, and dandelion cleans the liver. Then you can use what's his name of this? Green algae and cilantro to get the heavy metals out. One of them is a flush. I mean, they get it all up. And the other one is a binder in order to excrete it. It's so many supplements. I got a herbalist, Doc Pitt, on Facebook. I refer all the people that ask me so he can give them something based on having a conversation with them that's geared more specifically to what their current issue is. We also need to learn how to take spiritual baths, which is a constant spiritual cleansing process. Baptism was not a once in a lifetime or once a year thing. It was a daily ritual of bathing, right? Anointing and baptism is two different things.
Okay. So one of the questions in the chat says, is sitting in silence for an hour a day good for shadow work?
Can you read that again?
Is sitting with yourself in silence 1 hour a day good for shadow work?
That's part of it. But while you sitting in solitude, you have to look at the stuff you don't like in other people and make sure that's not part of who you are. Because those are things we normally condemn in other people first. The things that we do that we don't like in ourselves, we'll see them easier in another person.
Right. So I don't know whose name this is, but uric acid cleanse. At first it says an uric acid cleanse can help clear up kidneys and urinary tracts.
I'm not familiar with the boric acid cleanse, so I don't want to speak.
Uric, not boric, uric.
Spell it.
Uric acid, I thought was in urine.
It is. It is. Well, they do have people who drink their own urine for health purposes. I'm not one of them, but they do have people that do that. And that is an ancient practice.
Okay, so as far as like with the children, right? The best way to get the children, because I know a lot of the sisters and brothers do have children. I even know a lot of single dads is literally taking care of their child by themselves without even the mother in some cases. But what way should we be dialoguing with the children? What way can we actually prepare the children for the upcoming events and how things are happening to us?
The children need to prepare the adults. They ready. We ain't.
Explain that.
They born ready. They born into these children that's being born now ain't like we was. They are being born with a higher sense of self than any of us had born before 2000. All these babies born after 2000 is on another level. And if you pay attention, when you're looking at TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, the most comprehensive or the most easily to comprehend information is coming from the youth. I got young brothers listening to me, and then they go back and explain it to their peers, and they understand it perfectly fine. But you got adults talking about that nigga crazy, right? Because the adults can't grasp those new concepts as well as the youth.
Yeah, it's like I see how youth help us so much because they're born in this technological scientific day and age, and it's like they're like super advanced.
Yeah, well, you look at the average 1 or 2 year old know how to work your tablet. They know how to work your phone probably better than you.
Yeah.
Right. So they already born adapted to the environment that we created before they came. The goal is to start moving to an environment with the children in mind. That's matriarchy. The patriarchy don't have the children in mind first. And the patriarchy, the man is the sole focal point.
Okay, so moving with the children in mind. That means what exactly?
All of the social constructs that we fought against for the last couple hundred years, the children should not have to fight those social constructs. We as adults now, we the elders now, so it's our job to initiate the changing in the construct so that the children can have the best possible future before them. And then we raise the children by showing them what we're doing to give them their best life in the future, right? Because the children of the future, the adults already had their horizon, son. Especially when you get 30, 40 years old, whatever you ain't done and accomplished by then, if you better get on the ball, you can get left behind.
That's absolutely correct. So financially speaking, you were saying before that basically all these banks and stuff are going to collapse. And so, people are still chasing the almighty dollar. What are we supposed to be doing in relation to the financial aspect? Because it takes finances to be able to feed your family, to take care of our women, our children, etc.
Okay, so first thing is, if the banks collapse, what's going to happen to the money?
Okay, the money is going to be no good.
The wealth's still going to be here, but the money going to be gone. So we need restructure to be recipients of the wealth that the banks can no longer process. So we have to learn family banking. And
what does family banking?
Excuse me?
What does family banking tell?
That's how to run your own bank. So you becoming like the big mom in your family is going to be the CEO of the family bank. And this is going to lead to what we call the eldest female that's most loved and respected by the entire family is the big mom. And it's her job to go and assess the skill sets of the people in the family to find out who's financially literate. Because we can't compete with centralized banking when all of the centralized banks is in the hand of less than 1% of the population of the planet. We always at their mercy. The only way to combat that or to counter that is to go to family banks and decentralize banking. To do away with fractional reserve banking that is ran off debt. By keeping you in debt, they're keeping you in slavery because debt equals slavery. So the family banking is everybody learning how to handle wealth and how to distribute it among the family according to their merit.
So what will wealth look like in a society or an environment like that?
It's gonna look like everybody rich.
He says gonna look like everybody rich. Okay. So we have another question here. Do you think that we will ever get to the point to where we can, I think you already touched on that, where we can communicate without actually using the spoken word?
We already can. We already touched on that.
Yeah, that's what I said when I read that. Another thing is, will babies be, will there be a need to actually
your mouth? That's a circuit. And before you do it, y'all have to go over the best life scenario that y'all trying to create.
Okay.
When y'all do it and y'all in agreement and y'all make that circuit, you go straight to source. You bypass every motherfucking intercessor they ever gave us, and you go straight to source energy to download it.
Wow. And that's it. I knew it was something. I was like, babe, like, we got to ask him. And we thought we've been doing it right by, you know, how, you know what they say when you're orgasm, you manifest, you think of, you know. But I was like, I know Rod got like a deeper, you know what I'm saying, something that we can do that we know that it's for sure.
The climax, because remember, the uterus is a portal straight to source.
Right.
So when the climax come, that's what they call the waterfalls of heaven.
Mm.
That means that whatever y'all set y'all intentions for, it's just a matter of time before it manifests. The stronger you are, the shorter your turnaround time is. And the shorter your turnaround time, the faster you see it manifest. When you start with something small, with an identifier. I'm going to see a $5 bill with the letter J on it. Right?
Right.
And then, so that's something small. The universe can move that easy because you probably got a pocket full of $5 bills.
Right.
Right? But don't look for it. It's going to pop up, and then that's going to tell you what your manifestation turnaround is. And then the bigger the thing you're trying to manifest, the longer the turnaround time is, because the universe is realigning shit in order to produce it for you.
Mm. Oh, yeah. You hear that, babe? Yeah, we most definitely. Yes, and it's Maurice Rod.
What's up, big
Maurice, peace, God.
How you feeling, fella?
I'm good. So you taking notes, right?
Off top, man. You already know.
Yeah.
Make sure you start getting your good workout in beforehand.
Yeah, man.
You want to exhaust physical energy before intercourse so that you can be operating on straight spirit energy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's real.
That's crazy. That's something I would have never thought of.
Yeah. It's the same as when you're trying to learn something new. When your mind all over the place, you can't focus.
Yeah.
Right? But if you go burn off some energy where you can calm down, now your focus is clear.
Right.
Yeah. The sister said do squats. She actually on point because when you're doing squats, you sending the energy from your root chakra up.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We got 4 boys, so you already know.
Mm-hmm.
It's going on.
Yeah. In order for you to have 4 boys, that means he been doing everything he supposed to do.
No, I was mad. I was mad at God. I was like, man, I'm on punishment because I want a daughter so bad. I want a man in me. I'm the only woman in the house. So it's my husband and my 4 boys. And it's like, I want a girl, but I'm scared to try again because it'd be another boy. It's just like, no, I ain't gonna keep going down that road. But it's a reason why I do know it's a reason why I have men in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's time for you to start getting the young girls in your area that doesn't have a woman to look up to. That's why you don't have no daughters. For 2 reasons. One is he doing what he supposed to do, so you grant him you agree to allow him to reproduce himself. One of them boys he got to come back through.
We already probably know who. That's Charlie. That's Charlie all over.
They know.
Yeah.
That's him.
I tell Rick all the time.
You see, that's the first thing I asked you, which one
Yes, and you hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
We already know his mama just died 2 months ago. And she came in my dream and she know that her son played lottery heavy. And she came in my dream and she said, and she gave me a ticket number and it made it seem like we already won. It was 154. And every day I keep saying 154, so I feel like it's just a message of her just letting me know that she around. It's her number. And then Reese just said that 154 just came out Georgia Lottery yesterday. It's like she always revealing herself. But before she died, she said, Maurice, I know who I had. That's June. That's June Harris right there. That's Charlie. She said that. And that's crazy. You came right out and said it's somebody's grandfather. We been told you that. The little boy, he do not act like he too. Yeah, I told him about my dream and he broke that down. And I'm a dreamer, right? Every time I had dreams, I call my family and I let them know. If I dream of death, that means a life coming. And if I dream of the death and it was a boy, that means It's a girl coming. Like I didn't learn to decipher my dreams.
Yep, that's called flipping. That's how you flip as above, so below. Because when it comes to you in the spirit message, you have to know how you interpret it.
Yes, and I had to do. I had trial errors for a long time. Now I master it. Like I get so mad. I'm like, God, why would you give me this ability if I can't stop what's getting ready to happen? Like, here, let me know it's a boy in my family that's getting ready to pass, and I can know which aunt child getting ready to pass. Like I had a dream of my father, so I knew it was gonna be on my daddy's side. You know what I'm saying? It's like I had to learn to decipher my dreams in order for me to. So I just had a dream last night of the daycare workers. The day was at a funeral, so I called when I dropped my babies off today, and I said, "It's somebody in y'all family. It's a girl getting ready to have a child, and it's gonna be a boy." And it was like I said, "So when it happens, just let me know." But it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Just like I want to tap in and want to get, I guess, make my abilities more stronger, or I'm just limited to just that.
No, long as you practicing deciphering your dreams, you're gonna get better and better at it.
Okay.
Then you're gonna wake up and you're gonna have a dream. If you remember the dream, you're gonna know exactly what it meant.
Yeah, that's how I knew that she was a real deal. Like I've been watching Black Magic. He been having so many guests on his page. I've been watching Collab and watching everybody. I never had a dream about nobody, but I had a dream about you. And I'm like, yo, I said, Reese, whatever this man said, I'm following him. He's telling me like it's a reason why you came in my dream. I don't dream. When I dream, it's real deal. I just don't be dreaming just to be dreaming. It's a message in it. So that's why I knew I had to get in contact with you and let you know what I dream and like what did he tell my aunt? That's a damn hard Christian. But you just like you made everything come to light now. Now I understand. Now I understand. And I appreciate you.
I told her Jesus is ISIS. And it wasn't because I told it to her. It's because when I told her, it resonated with her deepest spiritual intuition. And that's when she knew.
Yeah. And she was all on the board with us, and we were just walking around, just waking people up. Like you was a modern day Jesus, so to speak. Like we were just going around waking people up. Like
I'm not finna dress in drag, so I'm not. I'm not finna be no modern day Jesus.
Right. But we was waking our people up, and I see like that's what you here for, and I know you the real deal. You just ain't talking just to be talking. You like you.
Oh yeah, because I hate social media with a passion.
Yeah, but you here for a reason. Like you see how you woke this whole household up. Like you here for a reason. I appreciate you. I'm gonna get right back on your live and keep following you, keep watching you, and keep filling up. I'm damn near. I got to get another notebook. Like, you the true babe. I love you, Rod. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, love.
All right, King.
All right. Peace, God.
All right.
Hey,
Hi.
how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Where you chiming in from?
New Jersey.
Jersey in the house, Turnpike, Side of Shakur. That's her territory.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
She
wow.
displaced from my motherfucking land, but they about to bring her back with honors.
Okay, because maybe I think that might be another confirmation for me. So I just wanted to say thank you so much and gratitude to you because you've been saying everything, part of everything that I've been saying since I was like 13 and 14. And now it's coming to light. And I'm realizing, because, I stopped doing certain stuff because I knew I couldn't speak to certain people on a certain level. So I just was saying certain things, and they used to call me Martin Luther King or Malcolm X in high school and stuff. They used to say I was preaching when I was just speaking from passion. That's it. So I stopped that, but I noticed people was continuing doing, dropping the jewels and dropping the knowledge. And I just want to say thank you so much, and I appreciate everything.
I think you're just trying to make me blush.
No, seriously. Thank you so much. Like, seriously, I even my dreams and certain dreams I had, and I don't know if it was because I was probably listening to you or whatever, but everything from the schools, how I compared the schools being like jail. I was telling people why the bell ringing at a certain time and how all the doors is lined up like cells, like how like I was breaking down words in high school, like looking at the word history and a whole bunch of like mental, like, and all that governmental and all that. So I was telling people this, and they were just looking at me like I was crazy, telling me I was worshiping the devil and stuff. So thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it.
But you keep your head up and fuck what they talking about and fuck who they telling.
Oh
Black
yeah,
Girl Magic
definitely.
run this bitch. So
Yeah,
y'all see,
definitely. And
Asada gonna tell y'all herself when she tell y'all her story.
and can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
It's about like certain dreams I had. Like one dream I had about my uncle, not my uncle, but it was like a lady on top of a hill, and then Sam just told me that it was like an old lady. I'm not too sure, but she was just like everything was just like kind of dark or gray, black and white, and it was like an old lady on top of the hill. So Sam just told me to ask my mother, and I asked my mother. I told her I just had a dream about an old lady on top of the hill. Then she said, "Oh, my uncle used to call me old lady on top of the hill," and I'm like, "What?" So I was wondering, what does that mean? And then I had a dream about her. She had mushrooms all over her body. I got the chills so bad. Cause like, ugh. I had a dream my mother had mushrooms all over her one time. And I was just wondering, what does that, like, what the symbolic of it? Because I've been learning certain stuff that you were saying. I noticed I was doing flips. I just didn't know what it was at all.
So your mama carried Lilith energy. Lilith was undermined when they put the moon to block the energy of Saturn, so that the women can't control their menstrual cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then the women took a while, but they figured out how to use the moon magic. Right? So when they learned that, they knew that if they wanted to tap into their Lilith energy, that they would have to wait till the moon went dark for 3 days. Lilith is the big sister who is going to be Big Mama next. Just like Sekhmet is in line to be Queen of Heaven and Earth next. Right. So Lilith tied right into the Big Mama energy. But she's governed by Saturn. And that's why they villainize and demonize Saturn so much.
Yeah, I got Saturn on my finger right here. On this finger
So it
right
ain't no
here.
coincidence. On your index finger?
On my middle finger. My middle one.
Man, that's air.
And
That's, that's the Aquarian finger. Air sign, Aquarius.
Yeah, it's so much. And then I noticed like my family names. I've been was like questioning everything. I remember certain stuff when I was 3 years old. I was like it was just so much. Like when you said Obama, how Obama didn't speak after 3 months, I said that to myself. Like, and I knew when I was going, I'm like I was unsure or certain, but I'm like, nah, this is like, then. And then when you mentioned that he ain't speaking 3 months, I was saying that right there, that during that time, I'm like, why he ain't speaking? Why he not speaking? And I'm like, maybe I just like, don't mind. I even question myself during this time. Like, people around me had me questioning myself. Maybe I was thinking I was crazy and stuff. One time I even thought maybe I was worshiping the devil, but I'm like, no, because I know what the hell I'm seeing. Like, I see certain stuff. I see clouds shake like certain things. There's a whole bunch. Like, I know my family, their names. Like, my mother's Latasha, Sophia, Sky. I got aunt named Trinity. Like a whole bunch of my aunt named Crystal. So I was just looking at the names and I was thinking maybe it was telling a story or something.
It is.
Or I wasn't bugging. Because I'm like, why all these names are just like my Aunt Teresa and I got Aunt Maria, like certain names I knew it was like putting the story together, but I didn't know. And then both my sides of my father and my mother's side, they both got Irish names and stuff. And then my great great grandmother said she was Cherokee, and I was trying to figure out like what exactly. I didn't know the route like to go exactly to figure out the bloodline exactly because like the family is separate. Like I've been trying to get it together and like because for some reason I just knew like for the last 5 years I've been saying the king is coming, the king is coming. Like I don't know why I've been saying that. I've been saying certain stuff and it just confirmation after confirmation. It's like the story of like how maybe somebody some creature came or not a creature but being came down and the planet had kids with somebody else, and I found that was like a story similar to I think the book of some book, I'm not too sure.
It's in Genesis, Genesis chapter 6, but it's in the Sumarian tablets.
Yeah.
So Eliu was a Scot. He lost the throne to Anu. He was the ruler before Anu. And Anu challenged him for the throne. You challenge for the throne is hand-to-hand combat. So Iliu got his ass whooped and exiled. And when he got exiled, he discovered Earth because this is where they sent him, but they thought they were sending him to an uninhabited part of the universe. When he found Earth, he discovered the monatomic gold in the Indian Ocean, right? So he telepathically called Anu. Anu was like, "What the fuck you calling me for, bitch ass nigga?" And he was like, "I got something for you. I got something for you." He said, "This better be good because you exiled. You ain't got no business calling me."
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then he told him, he said, "I found something that can help repair the ship, Nibiru, so that it can last, much longer." Right? But they found it in the water first, in the monatomic form. And so he got some of that, and they built a Stargate for them to come down here. He told him what to do to build the Stargate, and then he had to ping the Stargate until they lined up the Stargate to Earth to get here. So he sent Inanna, he sent Enki, and he sent about 7 nurses. Right? Those became known as the 7 creative spirits. Right? But the 7 nurses, they always represent Pleiades. The Pleiadians don't believe in none of the bullshit Enlil do. Enlil is a dictator. And Enki is a hedonist. He don't give a fuck if the earth fall apart as long as he can get some good pussy and something good to eat. That's all he care about. Right? Enlil, he don't care about no sex, no food, none of that. He just want control and power. Right? So now you see the differences in how they at conflict and at odds.
Mm-hmm.
So when they interfered with the development of us on the earth, Enki was the first one to do that, but everything that he did, he sent Inanna to get permission from Prime Creator and Mother Earth. He was bypassing Nibiru the whole time. So when Enlil came, he said, "Y'all can produce this gold faster in larger abundance than y'all doing. Y'all being lazy. I'm going to take charge of Earth." So Enki and Inanna went to Nibiru to protest to Anu. "We don't want him on Earth. It's a peaceful place. It's a paradise." This is your Garden of Eden story. So I knew he was like, "Well, why is y'all telling me? Y'all sort that shit out. Y'all grown motherfuckers. Don't bring that bullshit to me. I don't want nothing to do with it. Long as y'all save the motherfucking planet ship, I don't do what you got to do." And so Enlil came to complain that he wanted to remove the mitochondrial rights of rulership from Earth, and he wanted to install patriarchy. So one of Inanna's scouts came and told her what Enlil was lobbying Anu for. And she went up there and blew a gasket on his punk ass. So you think that because you got the Y chromosome, you better? Motherfucker, do this. Raise your motherfucking gown, pap your girls, and push me out of sun, nigga. And so he started laughing and said, "You can't have one without a Y chromosome." And she said, "I'll be back in 9 months.
Mm.
And when she presented her son, before Anu and Enlil blew a gasket, that's what caused the war in heaven. Because now she got a son that got the Y chromosome white rulership, but he also has the mitochondrial inheritance of the earth. And that undermines his authority. Undermines his authority and his jurisdiction on earth. So he was immediately pissed. So his response was, "I'm finna go tear this bitch up. I'm gonna make these motherfuckers do what I want them to do, and I guarantee you they gonna have 10 times more gold." And Enki was like, "You fucking with our 9 people, dog. We don't do that down here. Leave them sisters alone." So he brought a whole horde of his motherfucking soldiers down here. That's the Genesis 6 story. And when he seen that it was having that it wasn't making them beholden to him, he really got pissed. That's when they came with the flood to destroy everybody. Right? So now he flooded this bitch out. Then from there, all war broke out. There's a big old empty space after the flood. The ship that they said was Noah's Ark, it wasn't a boat. It was a jumper ship. It was where they used to transport gold to Nibiru. It's called the Crystal City. And the Crystal City was stayed on Nibiru until the end. Now it's coming back. But when it come back this time, it's gonna stay here. So that's how it happened.
Okay, thank you so much. Can I also ask you another question? If you don't mind, I'm gonna ask a few questions.
Go ahead.
And you can always cut me off and let me know whenever you're ready to go off or get somebody else on the line.
When Instagram is left on here.
How many minutes? I couldn't hear it because the thing messed up.
About 10 minutes. It's about 10 minutes left for a cut, y'all. But go ahead with your questions.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. One time, like it's been so many awkward moments and so many stuff been confirmation, and sometimes I get creeped out and stuff. But I've been learning, not to not have no fear or anything like that, because fear's what's been stopping me for even dropping knowledge and stuff. Because I've been noticing how certain things and certain reactions been happening, and what town I'm in and certain stuff. And I noticed the energy around. And one time I had a dream, and it was during the time where I think you was talking about Larry Hoover and what Hood Hiller. And I had a dream about a book. It was like a little book, like a key. It was blue. Every time you flip it, it either be blue, but it had pictures. I had pictures of people. And I'm not sure if they was in jail or it was just like prison pictures, but it was every time I flip it, it'd be blue a picture or it'd be red a picture. And then I thought about the flips, what you was describing and what you were saying. So, and then I had another dream about me being in the mall, and it was a T-shirt with a big old ankh on it. Like I was shopping and looked up, it was a big old shirt with an ankh on it. And I had another dream about this lady. I'm not gonna name her name, but we was all in white and it was in a building, and then all of a sudden a red alarm came on, like it was a fire and everything was red. And we stopped what we was doing, and I got creeped out because I'm like, because me personally, I had even people come up to me like saying Wicca, like I met some people who did Wicca, and they say, "Oh, you were coming," and I never wasn't feeling it because I don't like doing certain stuff collectively and certain stuff.
You just gotta have your own circle.
Yeah, and discernment, because this other lady, she came up to me. She called herself a guru, and I went to go test her, to not even test her out, but just went to go because I believe I needed counseling. Like probably I feel like I need a counselor, but I know I could talk to myself. I've been talking to myself and everything, and people have been thinking I was crazy because I talked to myself, but I feel like though that's necessary.
Self-talk is one of the most powerful spiritual training exercises you can do.
I've been doing that for long.
That's why they tell you
crazy or I'm weird.
Yeah, that's why they tell you if you talk to yourself, you're crazy, to stop you from using self-talk.
So she was she told me to I could give her a birth chart and she'll learn, and she know my soul more than me. She said we were just talking and like whatever. She had her.
That's a red flag right there.
I knew I was a bugger and then I'm like, because that tweaked me. I'm like, hold on, you know my soul better than me. And then I'm looking in her eyes. She winked while she said that. So I said, nah, because I didn't like what she said. So I'm like, that was a red flag. Her wearing the mask. I don't mess with the mask or anything like that. But when she said that, I was just looking at her like, did you know? I don't know if she knew who was in front of her, or she don't know who I know is in front of me. But when she said that, I didn't like it. And then next time I seen her, I was done. We was talking. I said, yeah, I'll let you know if I want to give you my birth chart or something like that. But I knew not to, because I don't even want to look at I like surprises. And I feel like if I look at it, I don't need to look at it. Like I'm looking at my chart a little bit, but I'm not going that deep into it. But I didn't feel comfortable at all when she said that to me. Then last time, probably like 2 weeks later, she was, before that, excuse me if I'm jumping all over the place, but she was saying you can give donations, I accept donations and stuff like that. And that class, she offered it for me for free or whatever. and she had fruits and everything at her shrine. She had all her statues of the Buddha and every, I don't know what other statues with the 8 arms, you know, all the Buddha statues or whatever. She was saying the fruits, people leave fruits and give thanks, and she gave me the fruits. I eat none of the fruits. I just tossed it out, and I said thank you anyway. But then I think her like 3 weeks later, and I said hi to her. She was like, she was avoiding me, like she didn't want nothing else to like to talk to me or anything. I said cool, that was just a confirmation to let me know. Because if I didn't want your services, you should just accept it and be grateful I even came and gave you a chance to even think about it, to even think about even having you assist me. So for her to give me that vibe and that energy, I said, yeah, I did the right thing. Because you didn't have to like act like you ain't see me or avoid me or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, I most likely did the right thing. And then you just said, yeah, definitely. So that was my question. That situation, with that being that what she said, she know my own soul. As if nobody could know your own soul better than you, right?
That's not possible. You got to be damn near on your deathbed dead for you not to know who you is. You know enough about yourself to know that didn't sound right. That's all you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the beginning of self-knowledge. Just knowing somebody come tell you that they know your soul better than you do. They on some bullshit.
Yeah, so, yeah, and I felt bad. I'm like, no, don't feel bad, because I got a heart. I got a good heart, and I've been learning, like, you know, to, you know, don't have my heart too open, because not everybody, you know, is for you.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Mm-hmm. And I've been seeing stuff in the clouds, shake like clouds. I've been seeing lights and a whole bunch of stuff is disappearing and popping back up. So I just want to say thank you so much, and thank you for your time. And you've definitely been letting me know that I'm not crazy, and the confirmation, and I've been on the right path.
Crazy. Yeah, you sure not crazy. Look, if anybody want to find out if somebody crazy for real, give them a math problem.
A math problem? What a math problem?
If you insane, you can't do basic math. It requires logic that you don't have access to. It don't even have to be a complex math problem. So, you know what I'm saying? They call you crazy. Say, I'm not crazy because I know 6 times 6 is 36. 2 times 8 is 16. You can't do math if you're truly insane.
Yeah. Because I've been noticing everything is math or just about the numbers and stuff. Like my birthday is right after Christmas. I'm a twin. And I got another sister. She was born the same year. Everybody be thinking we triplets, but we not.
That's called Irish twins.
Yeah. 9 months apart. And I wanted to know, how could I, if, for example, if nobody in my family don't want to, because I have 3 nephews. I don't have no kids. And only one of my sisters have kids, and she had 2. And my mother, she had another kid, Sophia, Muhammad, and Sebastian. So that's the 3 youngest. And we don't associate with our family at all because we had like problems and stuff. And I've been trying to like get to figure out. I just can't put nobody back together again. And I don't want to leave them alone because we only talk to my aunt and my grandmother from my father's side. And we only have my sisters from my mother's side. So it's been kind of hard for me to like, I've been trying to figure out what to do because I know I'm going to leave and physically one day, and I want to leave them something. I want to leave them like at least people or family, you know? So I've been trying to collect books and stuff like that because I know my nephew, he's in tune. He looked up at the sky one day and said, we're in a whole other galaxy. He told me he's seen his body outside of himself, like he sees his body while he was sleeping. So I know he's in tune. And I don't know how to go about bringing like a family to them because even my own family was all females in the house and it's like very aggressive sometimes and like a lot of masculine energy, not too much feminine energy. And I've been wanting to know like how can I bring like
peace, Chief. Brother, I appreciate you coming through, man. Man, I listened to one of your bills for the first time, and tonight I'm listening to you and you saying some things that I could correlate with and relate to because I've heard them from other people or I've either researched them. But there are some spiritual things that you said that I know. I said, there's no way that he got that from a man. That's something that he's gotten from a download. And one of the things that stuck to me was when I heard you say Conjure Wars, and you went into it, but you only dropped about 2 or 3 clicks on it. So my question for you tonight is, if you could explain to the audience to help the American Indian community understand what exactly the Conjure Wars are and how they are fought. Is it a physical war? Is it a spiritual war? Is it a war that's spiritual in its word, or is it a combination of both? And if you know who some of the players are in that war, physically, can you drop the family some on that? Appreciate you, brother.
So, yeah, that's a good, excellent question. The Conjure Wars is fought between practitioners of varying different styles of voodoo and sorcery. The Conjure War that we was under, Feathers versus Fezzes, was a amnesia war that was fought by us having to struggle for enough knowledge to overcome the confusion as to who we really were. The agreement, the players, all of the fezzes that was surrendered for the Conjure War are lined up in the George Washington Memorial. You can see them online under images if you pull up George Washington Memorial Fez Museum. And it's going to show you the fezzes, and those are the names of the people on the fezzes that challenged us to a Conjure War. And if you pull up the Pope's most bloody oath, that was their agreement with the Pope to murder the kings, the chiefs, the kings, the princes, and the people of the land, which was us. If you pull up the George Washington challenge, it comes up and it leaves the feathers out of the challenge because it was us that had to discover who we was in order to reclaim our birthright to restore the land, air, and the water. The discovery came in from my part from being a witch doctor and knowing sorcery and being commissioned with compelling all of the sorcerers who had open conjures to close they conjure, which brought me to the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. If you look up Voodoo Cult of Islam, you will see there was newspapers back in the 1900s about the Moorish Science Temple being involved in voodoo. Now, when I started putting the pieces together, it didn't make sense because I'm always been taught that the enemy looked at like paleface. I never knew that the Conjure War between us was for one of us to know which side of the water we originate from and where they came from to get here. This is in the George Washington challenge, right? Then they have the secret oath. All of these are documents you can find. The secret oath goes through all of the shit they was going to do to us. The government is ran according to a book called The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. This is the principles of oppression that is the doctrine of white supremacy. It's a military strategy to use a cat's paw to conceal who the real power players is by giving you Plato's Republic played out in a stage show. So we had to become educated enough where we surpassed them in knowledge so that we can realize that we was already here. We didn't come on ships. We organic to the land, and we wore feathers, and the invaders, conquistadors, blackamoors, the black nobility came after exile, they wore fezzes and turbans. So now we over here in a perpetual, what they call protracted struggle to remember who in the fuck we are. And I'm here to remind us that we wore feathers, they wore fezzes, we won, they lost, they have to leave, and we cool.
That's absolutely, bro. That's fire. But that's some clarification. Like I said, that's some things you drop spiritually that I catch personally, and I know that you can only get them. You have to be in touch with some sort of higher master teaching. It's not coming from a physical man. So when I say that, I'm saying two people can look at a document, right, at the same document, and what one person gets from reading that, they gonna see one thing, but then the spiritual eye is gonna see the same thing that the physical eye sees, but then be able to tie that to the presence of a being, a real live sentient being. That's another level of it. So when I heard you speak again on the Conjure War, and then just some of the things you were saying, I said, okay, you know, you came on the show. I said I was going to ask Top, man, can he go a little bit into that so that the family could get an understanding that it is a war of words, and the book, the Bible, is good and it's bad. It's a gift and a curse, but you have to have the eyes to see it because it's coded like that. Everything they do on this continent right here is in there, but you have to go through so many sources and layers to get to it, and you have to be willing to have a spiritual eye. If you ever try to approach it like that physically, you'll miss it, right? I heard you say cat's paw. So what I've understood the cat's paw is the same thing as the lion's grip. You know, that it's the same presentation when a brother in the brotherhood, they meet a brother. So the cat's paw, but then that's even looking at Jaguar, the ancient culture of Mesoamerica, the Jaguar, and the science behind the Jaguar.
The jaguar is in over here is the same as a leopard in Africa, and in the Far East India, and the jaguars are the pelts that the priests wear to identify them clearly among the people when they in traditional native garb. Where you have the stealth priests, these are warrior priests. They use conjure wars. They wear the Black Panther pelt because they are a war priest. So the priesthood is broke up into functions and functionality. The Jaguar priests are the ones that deals with the most social issues. The stealth priests are the ones who deal with the spiritual warfare aspect. And when the spiritual warfare becomes physical, they are the advisors to the chiefs on how to approach warfare. So Tupac give you the flip Machiavelli. Machiavelli was the advisor to the Medici, and he wrote The Prince. So Tupac becomes the advisor, Panther priest, to one that he's saying, we need guerrilla tactics. When you call for guerrilla tactics, you call for the next guerrilla clan to come in behind the Panther clan. They show it in Black Panther, the movie. The guerrilla clan don't want to be the clan to rule, but before they let these foreigners rule, they'll take the power. The gorilla grip is the master grip. The lion's paw is the master grip. But when you say cat's paw, you're saying something different. A cat's paw is you use somebody to do your dirt so that you can't be seen for the dirt you do. And that was the great con game they was using on us. While they was using their understanding of the stars to map when we was coming back so they could murder us, we didn't know this was taking place in the Masonic lodges of the Scottish Rite. We didn't know. Noble Ali went in and discovered what they was doing was using voodoo on us and telling us voodoo was evil. And then the greatest defense for voodoo is fucking voodoo. You can't win a voodoo war if you don't use voodoo. That's spiritual warfare. It's being able to call on the lower spirits of the earth to come and aid you in restoring balance to nature by restoring the affairs of man to their proper order as a matriarchy. You won't know this if you can't read the energy signatures of the earth. They call that tapping the Akashic record.
Wow, that's interesting. You said about the you mentioned about the cat's paw. What do you think about when we look at the Florida Panther, right? What they would call the Florida Panther, which some biologists they label it as a cross between a African leopard and an indigenous jaguar. But in my research, when I looked at the range of it, right, from where it's from historic today to where it go all the way back to 1800. It's ironic that the same places that all the tribes were it's ironic that that's the same place that the range of the panther was, or the jaguar was. But what they have now is what they call a panther, which is just a genius class of it. It's not really the species. So we call them black jaguars, but they're labeling it as a leopard and or a hybrid mix between that African leopard and a jaguar.
No, we've been had black jaguars over here ever since jaguars been here. They pop up
Correct.
periodically in the species naturally. The same way that the black leopard is the black panther from Africa, right? It's still got spots, whether it's a jaguar or a leopard, but it's just black because of its function in nature. It serves a purpose, but the priesthood of the jaguar hold that sacred secret about the purpose of the black jaguar, right? I gave you the exoteric version of the stealth priests and advisors to the chiefs. The black leopard is from Africa. The black jaguar is from over here. And both of them are called black panthers. We also get black cougars over here. The ironic thing about a black cougar is it got spots like a jaguar. But the regular cougar don't have spots normally.
Right. That's a good question. So one more question now. I want to hog it up, brother. What do you think about and because this is just a topic that I've been working on for like the last month, and to go back to what, like you said, about places you go, we think we've been there, we haven't been there, we're the first ones to be there, and truth and reality is, spiritually, when you look at it, it's just an ancestor. We're just walking in the footsteps of our ancestors. So
we are our ancestors coming back to restore what we fucked up before.
Right. So with that being said, I look at the length of time I've been here, and I'm in Central Florida, but I've been in Florida more than half of my life, and my people want me to move, but it's something about this land that I have a connection to, and I'm gonna tell you why real quickly. When I got ready to get out the army in 2002, right? My wife called at the time I was married. She's just messing around. She called a tarot card reader, and long story short, what the lady told me, she says that I see you around. You're gonna be surrounded by water on three sides. I had never been to Florida. I moved back to Atlanta. I moved to Florida 2 years once I got back to Atlanta, and I've been in Florida ever since. But I stayed close to the beach, and I'm a Scorpio. That's my sun and ascendant. So I've been surrounded by water on three sides, but it's something about the land, and I've always been in this area of the Tamuka people. But just recently, that study resonated with me, and I sat and meditated on it, even just going through it. I took my time with it, and I've been there where these people have been. I see that, I could sense that spiritually. So my point is that with those people, do you think that the descendants of those people, some of those people, are still here in this region today, and that this theory that they are dead as a tribe is farce? What's your take on the Tamuka people and their ancestry?
Well, shit, they've been there longer than the settlers. Listen, those are parts of those tribes that fought in the Seminole War. They just call us Seminoles to indicate that we was mixed up from among the tribes across the land. We got a rich culture down there. The culture is written on everything down there. You can't hide it. We used to walk the trees from Florida to Louisiana without ever touching the ground. Those were the Skywalker clans, right? They burned down the trees and chopped them down because they couldn't get us out of the thicket. We used to run in the water. The alligators wouldn't attack us, but they would attack them. So they started baiting the alligators with our babies. This is what was going on the land. And they needed the alligators to develop a taste for our flesh because they wouldn't attack us, but they would attack the invaders. We used to ride alligators down the river. They swim us all the way down the river. Tap him with the stick, and he'll roll to the bank and drop your ass off and go on about his business. Once the invaders came, we can't ride alligators like that no more. The Sobek priestess has been spoiled by the invaders because that's the priesthood that used to ride the fucking alligators. And they had a Sobek priesthood in Africa where the crocodiles are. The crocodile was sacred over there. The alligator was sacred over here. So all of our culture is written all over the land, but they've given us misdirection as to what we see. You see that, but that's not what it means. That's the bullshit they run on us.
Damn,
but
that's heavy.
Those people been there, man. Been there. They lived in trees and shit. Literally, like, build your house in a tree. And they built roadways that you could walk on with rest stations for you to have guest quarters, and all of the big mamas would be lined up at intervals because they know how long you're gonna walk before you get tired and need to rest and eat. They chopped all that. That's what all of the lumberjack legends is about. Them chopping the trees down on our land in order to overthrow the people, because we intimately connected to all of the nature of the land we from.
Yeah, that's on point though, because that with the Tamuka people, man. And even when I did in my study, what I saw was they demonized the the Tamuka people and said that they ate alligators like that often. But being down here, if you ever lived in Florida, people just used to it. It doesn't freak people out. They're just part of the community. Regular people down here, we don't get freaked out by seeing alligators. That's just what looked like a nice little lake. We just know, okay, it looked to outside, it looked like you can go swimming in there. But your ass get off in there, and then it's going to be a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But it's strange that when you mentioned the part about there was the jaguar there, and then the crocodile here. I found a picture of a jaguar, feasting on a crocodile down in South America. They hunt them, right?
Yeah.
So that's crazy that you said that, and I made a meme with that with